Welcome to the game experience. This one today is about, are you okay? I'm not going to have the video on for this one. I'm just going to have the audio because it's a Sunday evening and I just want to do it camera off. So I hope you guys don't mind. But I'm going to be speaking about, are you okay? On a couple of things. Number one, is the word, are you okay, a mock to the people from the government? Because it's like, why slap like a background of yellow and then funky black bubble writing of, are you okay? Like, if we're talking about mental health here or mental illness, do those people with mental health or mental illness deserve something a little bit better than just a small label? Like what is it? Like, what do we just have a day that's, are you okay? And somebody that we think needs, like noticing, and we just reach out and go, are you okay? Like, is that it? Is that all we deserve? When I say we, not me, but is that all those that may need someone to talk to, may need someone to reach out to, may need, like, is that what it is? Is that all it's come to? Is just a matter of an R, not even spelt right, the letter U, and okay. That's 4 letters. That's all we're going to give you. 4 letters to see if you're okay. So is Are You Okay Day a mock to the people of something that they've already created themselves? They've created this society. They've created this system that just breathes and lives mental illness. The society is like a mental asylum, full of mental illness. They feed you the poisonous foods and then gives you the tablets to make your mind poison. Like, there is no cure, well, there is, you are the cure, but there's nothing that they can give you that is the cure. So are you okay? Okay. I've got one person that I know that just messages me. Like, I'm going to use the word cheeky, but it feels quite strange, me calling another man, he's a man, but me calling another man, cheeky, like, it's probably the wrong word. Somebody I know randomly messages me using that word. Hey man, you okay? And I'm just like, he's taking a piss. And maybe he's being sincere, but that is the only one person that messages me and goes, are you okay? And I'm like, it must be, are you okay day. Right. And I remember last year, I had a problem with somebody, or maybe it was late. No, it wasn't last year. Sorry. 2019. I had a problem with somebody because they shared the Are You Okay Day logo on their Instagram. And it didn't sit well with me because I myself do get a little bit depressed from time to time. But I've had an interaction with this person, and this person deliberately ignored me. So when I see people like that ignore me, and I am in, well, not now, I used to be in the category of the whole world should be messaging me to say, are you okay? Because I was what's the best word to use? I was not a handful, but I was unstable because of a life. Not at the time, I didn't realize this, but a life of pain. I had a life of pain built up inside of me, and I had no idea. And the last few months, I finally figured out all of these problems and all of the pain and all of the emotion and all of the trauma that I had within inside of me that was trapped. And just this, just this 39-year-old dude that had been robbed, 38, 37, probably 30, let's just round off and go robbed 35 years of a life. And when you see somebody that shares the post of, are you okay? And they ignore you, you just look at that person and you go, you are such an imposter. Because you don't care about anybody but yourself. You only care about your image and how people take you. And if I was on the street struggling, no home, no nothing, really struggling, like I could say, for example, be one step from taking that final step over the cliff, and that person would just carry on in the car and drive like you didn't exist. There are those types of people that you see out there, that pretend that they care, but they don't care. So, my friend that would, message me and go, are you okay? I'm like, haha, maybe back then, but now, like, I think it was like, are you okay day the other day. And, it got me thinking the other day, this is why I'm kind of making this video now, of how did we get here? How did we get to the point now where we're going to put our hand up and saying, well, mental health or mental illness is now something that needs to be acknowledged, and we all need to put our hand up, and we need a day for it now to reach out to those and say, hey, are you okay? Like, how did we get here? Like, why has this become? Like, why is it a label? Why can't we have a solution? Why can't we have an escape? Why can't we have a key to a door that opens us up to inner peace and inner happiness? But we don't. We've got 4 letters. So, got me questioning and asking myself the other day, do the government really care if we are okay? Because almost 2 years now since this pandemic, I think this is going to be a big test to people to see if not those that struggle with mental health, mental illness, are actually okay. But is everybody else okay? Because, what we've all gone through is, I've called it psychological warfare. But like, there are people out there that are losing everything. I know America, there's a lot of jobs that aren't coming back. But, Australia, I know that Australia is pretty fortunate where I think, I'm not speaking to many people that have lost everything. I mean, someone close to me, this is quite not funny, but like, in context, this is quite funny. That someone close to me that I know that throughout this whole scamdemic done everything right. Got the double dose, wore the mask, QR code, got the permit to leave for work, done everything right. And they got a phone call last week that they're going to lose their job. Their boss works from another state, but some people in that company aren't getting the double jab, and the requirements are that you need that jab to get your job. And so his boss called him up and said that we're not doing it. And a lot of companies have crippled. And I know that within my industry that there's a lot of suppliers that are now increasing their prices. Like, God damn, man, like since last year, July, over 12 months now, I've been getting emails from suppliers, and man, I reckon six emails, and it's like prices are going up, price increase. So we're going to see the long-term side effects from this scamdemic, and this is a huge flush out. What people got to understand is that our number one threat that we face today as a species is climate change. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Climate change isn't real, and climate change is a load of shit. It's not, I use this word quite a lot, but what we need to understand is climate change is not what we think climate change is. We need to kind of just, move some words around and, throw some words out there. But it's number one, resources, and number two, it's sustainability. Now, our population is piggish, and there's a large percentage of people in this world that just don't really care, and they only care about themselves, and they're greedy and they're selfish, and they want to consume, and this is the problem. We need to be taking less, but people want more. So climate change to me is, yes, maybe the polar ice caps are melting, but can it be safe to say that also too the poles are shifting? One thing that blows my mind is that if Australia and the continent of Australia is having a summer, right, and it's hot, let's say it's 45, 47 degrees. I mean, I believe over the last 20 years, temperature may have gone up 4 degrees, whatever, but okay, like there's, the alarm bells were rung a long time ago on what we should have done, but nothing was done, and now like, it's like the alarm bells are done now, and it's like they're trying to switch everything off. Like, so when we see now the economy shutting down and businesses, like we're leading into the climate lockdown. Okay. Like this isn't about it's a pandemic. Okay. Like it's the biggest con job in all of mankind. And, without the World Trade Centers falling down, the US military would not get access into the Middle East. Okay. If it wasn't for the World Trade Center 9/11 to take place and the global threat of terror, there wouldn't be no access into Iraq and coincidentally Libya and Syria and all these other countries. And hey, did everybody forget about Afghanistan? Hey, by the way, guys, here's $100 billion worth of military equipment. Oh, and if you didn't know, Taliban, you have 6 times more weaponry than the Canadian military now. Thanks for hiding Osama bin Laden for us. Anyway, so create the problem, come up with the solution. So my point with that little 9/11 spiel was that without that, you wouldn't get that. So without the pandemic, you wouldn't have got the business flush out, which would then not roll into the climate lockdown, which would then not remove a lot of jobs, because Western man has a crisis called climate change. And buckle up. So we're seeing prices increase, food shortages. What's the word I'm looking for the flow of goddamn, what is it? Anyway, the supply chain is on halt, right? This is gonna turn into like crazy town soon, man. I give it another bit. You know, if people haven't opened up their eyes to know that this is sort of like only the beginning. But anyway, so climate change, polar ice caps melting. I believe there's some pole shifts that are you know, whatever. There are things that we can do. Like, let's just say it's fossil burning fuel cars. Okay. Like, I think the Americans, I think they pumped out, more money they printed more money in the month of June than what they have over the last 20 years. So if that's the case, and this is just a bailout, you know, they're printing out trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, right? So here's the thing. Let's say go back 5 years ago when the alarm bells of climate change, I could have just said, listen, everyone, let's just round up how much we owe people money. Okay, let's just stop everything altogether now. Let's stop everything. Here's the money so you guys can get by until we fix this, and we'll come back and touch base in 2 years' time. They could have done that. We've got a crisis at the minute. Let's just halt everything, halt diesel engines, halt this, halt that. Here, guys, listen, we're all in this together. It's our planet, da-da-da-da-da. But they didn't. They kept it rolling. They kept it rolling. They kept it rolling. The next minute there's fires. The next minute it's like, climate change is real. Government need to do something. Next minute there's this decoy virus comes out of Wuhan, China. Nobody claims responsibility. China's economy, you can keep going in production and manufacturing and being the lead supplier of masks and hand sanitizers and heat temperature guns and those little radar scanners that they pump straight into your pineal gland so you don't wake up through this ascension time, right? So it's all right, but the rest of the Western economy just shut down, lose your jobs, lose your businesses, right? We won't hold the country responsible where this lab leak bioweapon come from. It's okay, let's just turn a blind eye to it. Bin Laden flies planes into World Trade Center, 3,000, 4,000 deaths, 14-year war in the Middle East. China releases a bioweapon to the world, and the whole world stops. No one's held responsible. China gets away with anything, and now they want to invade Taiwan because it's theirs. And now it seems like to me that they want to extinct the Western man because they no longer serve any purpose because they are carbon and they are the problem to climate change, right? So all these things that we could be doing, should be doing, that we're not doing, we're getting scammed. We're getting scammed. That's it. We're literally getting scammed. And there's other things we should be doing right now. So there's things that we can be doing against climate change. And yes, you know, pole shift, polar ice caps melting, yes, pole shift. All the other planets are heating up throughout the solar system. We're going through a shift. We're transitioning into a new age. We're going through some changes, right? But, you know, are the coral dying? You know, look at the trawler fishing industry. Like the things that we should be doing, we're not doing, because they should be announcing, listen, people, we're raping the oceans of the bottom of the seas from trawler fishing. Let's stop trawler fishing. But no, they're not. They're stopping the supply chain, so you can't get an income to feed your family, and you can't do this and you can't do that. But it's okay. We're still going to burn the forests, and we're still going to get the palm oil, and we're still going to do this, and we're still going to pump you, and we're still going to dig for minerals, and we're still going to do all this. Don't worry, but you stop, you ruin your livelihood, you put this experiment in your body, or else you don't have a job, feed your family. But it's okay. We're still going to kill the planet, but it's your fault. Just remember that. So to me, that's climate change. But anyway, they want net neutral, carbon neutral by 2030. How are we going to do that when the human being's carbon? So is the planet really heating up, or the human being's a problem? Climate lockdown, that's what it's leading to. So are you okay? So our lives have all changed, right? And I believe a lot of us are going to be having like a mental breakdown. I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to cope in the future, because nobody knows what to do. People have relied on their government to help them out, because a lot of people's attitudes are, oh, it's okay, it's only 2 weeks. Well, listen here, people that keep saying it's only for 2 weeks. I think we're 18 months deep, almost. When did this begin? March. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So I got you right. Hang on. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 months. It's almost been going on for 2 years, right? So first 12 months, a little bit of a lockdown, a little bit of a squeeze out, get you depending on the government. Come again, and they squeeze you out again, get you more dependent on the government. Huge flush out, right? Now it's mandatory to get the double dose, or else you don't have a job. It went from not mandatory to, I'm just going to pause for a second, because I've got like just a camera in my studio, and I'm staring at it, and it's shut. The lens is shut. I've just caught myself staring at this camera, and I just realized that I'm not even on the camera. Anyway, so, the government has just flushed all these people out. But meanwhile, there's this sinister plan in the background where they're planning for the carbon or the climate lockdown. This has got nothing to do with the decoy virus, right? Create the problem, come up with the solution. Again, just like 9/11. They wouldn't be able to get into Afghanistan, into the Middle East without 9/11. Was 9/11 an inside job? Maybe. Who done it? That's the real question. Who gave the green light? What's in the Middle East that they don't want anyone else to have? Why are they doing it? Well, let's be real here, right? It's all the same plan. Plandemic, 9/11, Gulf War, fake alien invasion, everything else that's not yet happened. So it's all a part of the agenda, right? So here's the thing. Moving forward, are you okay? Now, we need to stop taking the piss out of our fellow citizens and just saying, are we actually okay? Because it's more than that. It's going to take more than that. I finally turned my life around where, my journey, my story is a very sad one to me, because, nobody calls me, right? Nobody calls me up, even friends. Like, nobody calls me up and go, hey man, what's happening? Like, literally nobody, right? And this is going to actually allow me to segue into something important that I did want to actually say, right? This is why things touch me a little bit, because it means something to me when when fake people are and people are imposters and people that try and sabotage your life and people that like aren't in it for your best interest. Like it really sort of gets to me a bit because, you know, I drank, I had a family that separated when I was 8. And ever since I was 8 years old, it was like everybody involved in that family separation all chose something that day which disconnected from one another. And we all just made our own decisions from that day. 1990, 4 people that were involved in a family breakup from that day moving forward all made their own decisions that had nothing to do with the family anymore. So I made my own decisions. I chose my own life. So did my father, so did my mother, so did my sister. So from that age of 8 years old, no, actually, no. Yes, it was 8, but yeah. Okay, sorry. Thought I was calculating something then. So 31 years. So from then, so 31, so say probably 27 years of my life that come after that was just a lot of bad decisions from me because I had ego. I had suppressed trauma. I had abandonment issues. I never was shown love, given love. I was bullied at school. I remember hiding in the library. I remember people always used to just, you know, pick on me and stuff and whatever. But when you don't understand all these things that's going on in your life, and then, you know, next minute you're in your 20s and you're wild and everything's just a Band-Aid and it's a facade and, you know, you're just baking all these layers on just to protect yourself. But you don't know what's going on. Like you don't know that there's trauma there. You know, you don't know that the reason why your behavior is this when you're 26 is because of that incident that happened when you were 7 years old. You don't know that. But that is the case, you know, where the early parts of our lives, you know, kids should not be nurtured. Well, kids should be nurtured, but, you know, not nurtured like babied. Oh, you know, you put like I mean, nurtured in a careful, sensitive way where like you can't fuck this up if you're a parent because those first 7-8 years, everything that child sees is imprinted into their subconscious, which determines the person that they are in the future. So if your kid misbehaves when it's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, all the way up to 25, it's not their fault. It's your fault as a parent because the prime years, because everything that kid sees growing up, in the long run, that kid's personality and behavior and all of that is literally the imitation or the reflection of what they learned being brought up as a child, without a doubt. You know, so over the last couple of months, I've realized this and I've started to understand how the brain works and stuff. So when I stopped drinking in 2019, I'm almost coming up 3 years sober. You know, I dealt with a lot of internal pain because I started to be me. And because I drank for a lot of years, I never really had the me personality and I never really spent time with me. So I may have only had like, say, 3 or 4, maybe 2 days, 3 days of being sober a week, you know, where like, say, for example, you know, from maybe 2015, 16, 17, 18, my week would be, you know, I'd probably drink Thursday night, go to work hungover Friday, maybe drink more Saturday. This was when I wasn't in a relationship. This is what I spent a lot of time in and out of relationships, stuff like that. But when I was in a relationship, you know, I may have drunk like Friday and Saturday. But when I was out of relationships, so when I was out of relationships, because I was so bored and lonely, and, you know, I used to drink Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. And then, you know, I probably have no money, so then wouldn't drink Monday. And then, you know, might have money Tuesday. I might borrow money because I got paid Wednesday, but then repeat the process, right? So when I became sober, that personality of me, I didn't know, you know, and sometimes, you know, I could have moments where like I'd do things that I regretted when I was drunk. Like I could have arguments with people and just be like, be horrible, say some bad stuff. But then when you start to become sober and you start to reflect on those things, you're like, is that really me? You know, like, cause you don't know. You're like, is that really me? Am I really that horrible, or am I really that type of person? So, you know, the first 12 months of not drinking, I went through this little bit of identity crisis. But go back to the time when I used to drink, right? That I used to sit on a balcony and drink on the weekend because I had no girlfriend. I really had no friends, you know, just whatever. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I just call up other friends that drank, and I was just a bum, you know. And like I just used to see people living life and getting about in life. And I used to be like, why can't, you know, why aren't I like that? Why can't I have that life? And then I used to go back and reflect on the breakup and just think, was it me? Like, was I not meant to be born? Like, is this all because of me? Is like all my friends ditched me? Everyone ditched me like in 2017, I think. Everyone just ditched me. Is it the spirit of me that's just like, and I'm just like, fuck, maybe I just wasn't meant to be, and you know, and all these things, like it's just like I wasn't sure. Like my dad left, my dad don't call. Like maybe is that like what have I missed? Like what have I done in my life where it's led to this, right? So I remember just sitting around on a Saturday, and I used to try so hard, but it was the programming. I was stuck in this program way of life where I knew no different, right? And there's one thing that we don't get when we're just a normal person. Like our brains are programmed. And this is what happens with mainstream media. They've got everyone's mind programmed. You know, mind control. Everyone's going around wearing a mask. For what? Crazy. But mind control is real. But there is, you know, your mind is a program. And I was running on this program. And it was like, I used to say to myself, this Saturday, I'm not going to drink. I'm going to try and do all these cool things. But there was something within inside of me that gave me anxiety and used to just steer me towards drinking. So I ended up drinking, you know, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm like, ah. And I'd sit on the balcony, I'd chain smoke, I'd drink beers. And I'm like, there's nothing I could see myself doing. I couldn't, like, I no hobbies. Like I go play golf, you know, have a hobby. Like what's a hobby? Like what? You know, meet people or associate with it. And like, but I couldn't go and play golf without drinking, right? So there was all these things that I couldn't see myself associating with people having a hobby that didn't include drinking because I just didn't know how to be. It was weird, right? And this all goes back to the abandonment and the no love and all this shit that happened when I was 8 years old led me to be this destructive human in my 30s and you know, mid 30s. And I'm like, you know, I just struggled to fit in and be a normal person. Couldn't be normal. But then when I did stop drinking, I just done something I never thought I'd do. Like I remember sitting on a balcony and going, fuck, I couldn't even run five minutes. I tried to run around a park once. Like I couldn't even run 100 meters with a mate. And so what am I, you know, and then the first month of not drinking, I just, no, sorry, hang on. Sorry, it was 12 months up, 12, well, hang on. Somehow I got into running. I don't know how, but I did. And I started to increase the running. But I still drank because I went through a time when I stopped drinking, and then I started running. So the first attempt in 2018 when I tried to stop drinking was a failed attempt. I lasted for 2-3 months, and then I relapsed because I was on the radio and for mental health, and which I didn't know. And my mum called up the radio and exposed me, exposed me on national radio, and it really, really got me bad. It didn't sit well with me. And if I was ever on the edge and I was meant to topple, that was my falling point. I felt like my mother had not used me, but I think that I think she had good intentions, but I think my mum just seeked an opportunity, and I think they used her. But after it all, I was the one that kind of got screwed over, but they put me on the radio for a segment, which turned out to be about, like it was a segment on their show on the radio that was like a give back. And I thought I was getting, I didn't know, I thought I was going there for other reasons, but during the recording, I thought I was getting rewarded, but they attached a, still to this day, I haven't listened to the full radio version of that when my mum spoke and cried before I was on air. There's all this other stuff that I haven't even paid attention to because of how bad it troubled me. But there's a video that's attached to it. And the video's okay, but the audio and everything that leads up to it. And I remember on that day, I had a roofer that told me a small story that people were on the roof like laughing and joking and doing a Snapchat and stuff and trying to take the piss out of me because of it. And those people, they turned out to be bad pieces of shit that I, you know, have no time for. But so, yeah, so next minute they attached this mental health story to it. And it took me about 2 days after it. And I just like, it really hit me. And I'm like, damn it, like I wish that didn't happen. And I ended up relapsing, and that was probably the worst time. So then after that, probably for 6 to 8 months, I drank heavily, and I was a mess. Like I was a mess. That really got me inside, and that was probably my darkest time. And I'd done some pretty wild shit and strange shit, and there was things that I was doing, and I was just like, what? Like, wow, but anyway, so the following year, 2019, which now I've officially stopped drinking, it's almost been 3 years, around early April. And actually the reason I did stop drinking is my dad's wife passed away, and my dad's 65. And I looked at my dad and I thought, that is me, an old man, lonely, and I'm the reflection of him if I don't change today. And growing up as a kid, everybody said to me that your dad could be a millionaire. But the reason my dad wasn't a millionaire or not successful was because he drank and he gambled. So all of his faults, I knew that if I did not do the things that he did, then I could be a millionaire, right? So I stopped drinking because I knew that would be me. I would be that 65-year-old man. So I stopped drinking. But anyway, so I started running after that, probably about 2 months after I ran my first event, which was 10 kilometers. And then I took my first trip to the Philippines, and then I came back and I had some money, strangely, because I'd done a couple of jobs, and I was able to afford a. There's more to the business story. 12 months before that, when I started my business, I had nothing. Okay, like I had my last $700. I bought this company, and what I'd done with that company through yoga and meditation and visualizations, I created a company out of nothing with no money. Got a van, got sign writing done, and built this company up at the beginning months. But 12 months after that, anyway, I'd done like a few big jobs, and I had some money in the bank from these jobs. So I got back from Thailand and I bought myself a jet ski. Just boom. And I entered the world of the jet ski community, right? And this is when I'm like, oh, hobbies and association. So I was like, community, you know, associate with people. And it's quite funny, you know, out of all the people that in my local area, not outside local area, because there was some people I used to go jet skiing with, not those people. This is in my local area, but in my local area, when some other people that I knew got jet skis, it's quite funny that, you know, nobody calls you up to go jet skiing, right? Like this is my whole thing about, you know, friends don't call me up and whatnot. Like, and this is my point. This is what I'm trying to say about Are You Okay Day and stuff. Like, you know, like I joined running clubs and, you know, bow hunting, but basically, cut a long story short, right? So I've started all these hobbies, and still to this day, you know, I might have met one or two friends and stuff like that, but people don't call me up to associate with me and take part in these activities that I've now become a part of, right? And you know, you look around and you reflect on how you got to where you got to, and you know, what are the things that don't work for you, and you eventually, you know, realize that no matter how much time you spend alone or how much that phone doesn't ring, you just see who is important to you and who inspires you and who are the people that do deserve to be around you. And, you know, it's like I don't have a family and stuff like that. So, you know, I get it. People are busy and people do their own thing, but, you know, just you know who's on your team, you know, and if you've come out of a life that's just such a destructive path, that anything in that time and era, like you can't have any attachments and you can't hold on to that anymore. And you've got to let some shit go. And you've got to like, just like, you can't hold on to anything. You know, you've got to just let it go. Like it didn't work out, you know? And like, I've got some friends that, you know, I used to drink with, and it's like, you know, I've tried to introduce them into running, and it's like, you just realize that I no longer have anything in common with you anymore. Like, wow, like I used to think we were friends, but really we're not friends because all we did was drink. And it's just like you try and introduce them into this new way of life that you're living with all of these things that you're a part of that's made you be better and made you stop drinking. And you realize that although you've changed, those people haven't changed and they don't want to be a part of it. And they just want to stay in that trapped state of conditioning that they're in and don't want to be better and be inspirational and change and inspire. And they want to be in that mental health state and trapped into that program of what society is conditioned to believe it's meant to be and what it's meant to exist to be, if that makes sense. And you just got to let it go. You just got to keep moving and just like, well, I've left that vortex, like, and you know, like, you either have my best interests for me to fully eject myself out of this equation now because I've lived that life and it didn't serve me any purpose. It was my darkest days, and I've got to move forward, because the more you move forward, the more you can see and the more you explore and understand yourself and realize that all those behaviors you had in the past was, you know, just all this suppressed trauma, until you understand and realize you got an ego and realize and be willing to go within and accept your inner self and stop running from yourself. Stop running from that voice inside your head that you're scared of spending time with. You know, I've spoke to a lot of people and I'm like, do you meditate? Do you do this? And some people go, oh, no, I can't meditate. No way. But people get scared to sit there by themselves with their own brain. Like, that is you. Like, so many people are so attached to everything in this 3D reality. That's not what this is about. The fun is within. You can go on so many inner journeys within and go into these worlds that you just did not know exist. And with inside of us, like, that is life. Inside of us is creation. You know, inside of us is thought. You know, like, there's so much magic within the human body that everything in the external world is only what the brain breaks down through the eyes, like the lens that we've got. And it's like this, that's just the projection of all the, you know, the funky, what's the word that they use for, not polarity, but like, there's animals out there that are nocturnal, right? And they can't sort of see in the day, you know, they can only see at night. You know, like, so what we see, we're honored to see, like fish don't get to see what we see. You know, nocturnal animals don't get to see what we see. Insects don't really get to see what we see. Snakes don't get to see what we see. You know, why is it just us that's so distracted by everything that we can only see, and we don't pay attention to the most important thing, and that's ourselves, right? So I would not be ignorant when it comes to having time for people and reaching out to people to inspire them to be better and be the best versions of themselves, because I know what it's like to live a life of pain and suffer and hurt and unknowing of who you are. And, you know, like, are you what, you know, like, I used to have negative self-talk and I used to struggle with it. And until I realized what that was and how to get past it, like, you know, I could probably say that the 2.5, 3 years of being sober has to have been the worst time for me mentally, where I feel like I was more stable when I used to drink a lot, because I could have the excuses, you know. Back then I could have the excuses and say, oh, it's okay because I was drunk, you know. So it was like, you don't really focus on the actual obvious of why, you know, that become, right? But now, since you're completely sober, there's no one to blame. You have to be fully accountable. So when you start to become accountable and you start to go, fuck, this one's all on me. Like, I did that. Like, I can't go, well, I was drunk and I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's all you. So being a man and stepping up to yourself and looking within inside yourself and saying, what have you really got, motherfucker? You know, because that is when you really know who you truly are. And I found who I truly was through ultra running and breaking the body down and breaking down the layers. You know, so it's allowed me to see, you know, it's allowed me to explore and want more. And so, you know, are we okay in these days? Well, I can tell you something. If I didn't do the things that I've done over the last 2 years, I would not be okay today. And the things that I do to make me okay are the things I try and pass down to others to make sure that they're okay. So it's sort of like a give back. You know, this is what I've learned, try it. And I found a lot of people don't want to try it. A lot of people don't want to step out their comfort zone. But if we're stuck in a ruck and we're in this depressive state and we're not really okay, we're a little bit unstable and we're sad, well, that's just a small cycle. That's just a program. The reason why we're thinking like that is because we're stuck in that train of thought. I give so many people examples, right? And this is like, people just don't understand the power of the brain. People just don't get it, you know, because they've always been that voice in that head, and they've never really broken down the layers to, you know, find things out about themselves that they don't know exist. But I say to people, like, if you were to get bitten by a dog, right, on one leg, like in that moment, you will be like, and you'll be a panic, right? Well, that panic and that moment in time will sort of put like a data stamp in your brain, and there will be an emotion attached to that, right? Where that emotion would be scared, fear, and pain. Now imagine, you know, the other leg was not to get bitten, but say you're getting a foot massage. Okay. Now these are two incidents that happen to your body, different legs, but different sorts of things, right? Now, if later on you were to reflect on the dog bite, you would go back and relive that moment of the fear and the scared and the trauma and whatever, right? But if you were to go back and go, well, that foot massage was great, right? Well, these are just thoughts, okay? Although things happen, you know, so imagine you could train your mind if you were getting attacked by a dog, it felt like the foot massage. Imagine you could just learn how to switch that all off and control the emotions, because a lot of people's problems today is nothing more than an emotion that's connected to a thought that makes them feel a specific way. And this is why, like, I've somewhat sort of isolated myself from not many people, but like I'm best by myself now, because I feel that when other people, they talk to you and they tell you all their, you know, just negative words, and you just, sometimes you've got to put a shield up of people's bullshit and toxicity and drama, and you just can't deal with it because you're just like, God damn it, man, I can't absorb all of that, because you feel it. You take on that energy. You take on that thing, like words, like they're just, you feel it and it rattles you. Like when you're in a state of calm and someone just starts pumping you all this drama, you're like, oh, turn it off. I hope that's your life. Like, no, rainbows and unicorns over here. You know, I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of all that, you know, sort of thought, because it brings the anxieties and it brings the depression and it brings all of these things. And like, there's freedom for everybody where we don't have to be the way that we are, you know, like we can change things about ourselves. And I'm a prime example of that. It's possible because I've done it. So I am a mental health survivor. And I fucking think that Are You Okay Day is the biggest piss take and the biggest mock on people, because there's like, you can change that station, man. If you do not like that song, change the goddamn station. It's like your brain. How do we change the station? Well, we're not going to change the station by just 4 words that somebody shares on social media where there's no emotion attached to it. And there's no there's no interaction. Like, what are you doing? You know, nobody, me being mental health, mental whatever in my past, nobody messages me and asks me, are you okay? Nobody acknowledges me. Again, I said, like, people don't call me up. Nobody calls me up. I'm living this life, doing this life by myself. I've tried to form community and reach out to people and stuff like that. And No one calls me up to say, hey, let's go jet skiing. No one calls me up and says, hey, man, let's do this. No one calls me up and say, I've got one friend that does almost everything that I like to do, you know, lift weights, run, shoot bows. But, you know, there's all these other associations and communities and stuff like that, and they all huddle together, and you see them and you're just like, well, you're an imposter because you're pretending to be something else that you're not really. Like, you're not really this person. You trick people of who you are, because I know, because we've had interactions, and you ignore me, you know. So Are You Okay Day means a lot to me when I believe that people aren't stepping up to the plate and doing more about it, you know. So look, here's the thing. There's a reason I started this channel. Again, there's a reason I do the things that I do, to form community. I do these things to reach out and to interact with people. And I don't want to sound desperate, but nobody reaches out and interacts. Some people do. I appreciate the comments that I've been getting. It's great. Just remember, this is why I've done this, to form community and to reach out and to speak to people. My Instagram, same thing. I will not ignore anyone. I won't just double tap and like when you reach out and you express something to me. I will go out of my way and I will make sure, are you okay? And I will interact with you, and I will make sure that I acknowledge the fact that you do exist, you know. So I appreciate those that do feel comfortable enough to reach out and talk, because, you know, if we have a look around us, we can see ourselves as society, and we're getting more disconnected ourselves, you know. Like, you can't even contact a company these days. Everything is just email us. You're finding that you're not interacting or speaking with people these days. There's a live chat you've got to go on. You know, people just want to hit the emoji button. People want to double tap and like it. We're disconnecting ourselves. The government and the system and this agenda is pushing us closest into a system to plug us into a machine where we're losing all this connection, you know. We're speaking less. We're putting masks on. We're living in fear. We're doing all these things. So, have I said enough? So are you okay? I believe moving forward that we all need to listen to those around us and take notes. Some people put the facade up and is a pretend happy, and they don't really mean it. They're just, oh, well, you know, and then, but then, you know, behind closed doors, they just go on the internet and they're just a troll. And I found that anybody that's like sort of like an internet troll and attacks you online, you know, like that, usually it's just the reflection of yourself that you can't stand. It's not the person. And out of all the people in the world, like if you're going to lash out at somebody because you hate something that they're doing, that's not their fault. That's your fault. Like, why are you concentrated on how much they annoy you right now? There's like nearly, what, 8 billion people on the planet, and that one person annoys you so much that you got to lash out and write in the comments. Like, no, it's not them. Control yourself. You know, this is the dog attacking the foot situation. Calm your mind. Think it's getting a foot rub. Think it's cool. Because you don't know what's going, like you don't know the context of things. Like I do it all the time. Like I hate the photos. Not hate, but I do not like the fitness industry and the image that's attached to it, because it's image. There's nothing in it. And when you look at the comments, it's only emojis. There's no interaction. And it's just like these brain dead robot people. But what the people are projecting out there, it's like you can see that they have insecurities. And you're just like, what are you doing? Like, I see people all the time and they've got companies and they're showing photos of their watches and their cars and, oh yeah, I'm, taking all these photos and stuff like that as if they're a baller. And I'm like, you are not, like, you're just like this fake external happiness in the 3D world. You're inside. The reason you're spending all that money is because you're not happy within. You're seeking external happiness. Like, it's fakeness, like you're going to that spot, you're doing that pose, you're doing all this. So like, I find myself doing it all the time when I go to write in the comments, but I never send it. Like, I type it and I go, no, I'm not going to put that out into the world. Like, I'm not going to put that negative energy out there. Like I got to write something and go, man, seriously, like, look what you're doing to yourself. Like, I see the fitness industry, man. They're so juiced up. They're pumping the melatonin in them. They've got bleached teeth. They're looking like females. They're wearing tight clothes. You're just like, you're seeking acceptance. Like, why don't you accept yourself? You've got to look a certain way. Like, people taking photos of themselves in the mirror every day to show us their abs. Dude, we know what your abs look like. We seen them yesterday. Not only that, you put them in your story 50 times when you're in the gym. Like, I get it, man. Pull your socks down. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Like, that's how I find myself with the fitness industry. I just went on a rant. Sorry. But, like, so we lash out to these people in the world because it's the projection of themselves. Like, maybe I'm just jealous because I don't have abs. Maybe that's why I do. But my point is that usually it's the pain within us. That's why we find we lash out and we attack those around us and we sabotage those around us because it's ourselves that we want to change and we can't face it. So we try instead of concentrating on our internal environment, we lash out on our external environment. But really, it's ourselves that we're not happy with, because if we were happy within, we would not lash out at people and try and sabotage that person and bring them down to lower the standards, to bring them down to your level. When people say, oh, don't worry about them, they're just bringing you down to their level. You don't understand. What do you mean? What are you bringing you down to my level? Like, I don't understand. How can somebody bring me down to their level? Like, I don't understand that satisfaction. But that is literally it in a different way of expressing it of what those words kind of actually means. Like, they are just bringing you down, man. That board game, snakes and ladders, like, that is the like, I look at that now with my life and I'm like, wow, you climb the ladder to get up and the snakes are the friends and you come all the way back down. Like, it's like, energy vampires. People can be energy vampires. Like, I remember one time, like I look at some people around me and I see what they're attached to. Like my mom, this is actually the example. I remember my mom had her friend on loudspeaker, and this friend of my mother was telling my mother a story about her son's ex-wife and all this drama attached, because the ex-wife is now all the words under the sun, and she's deliberately taking the kids away from her son, and now he has to pay child support, and it's all this girl's fault, and yada, 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 yada. And this lady is telling my mum all that bullshit, and she's got it on loudspeaker. I almost open up the door and kick my mother out to say, get that demon lady away from me. Like, what? I'm like, Mum, hang up that phone right now. You do not need to listen to that woman's problems. You do not need to hear that negativity. She is dumping her shit onto you. She is taking your energy off you. She's draining your life. Get it away. You don't need those people in your life. And she's like, oh, but she's sick and I feel sorry. No, like, here's the thing. Get a pie, right? Get the pie chart. The pie chart of 100. Out of that 100, right, break it down. 25 for me time, hobbies, interests, information, education. That leaves me with 75. The other 25, I don't know, maybe my podcast or my YouTube channel, whatever you want to call this, right? That other 50, work and survival, right? 25, 25, 50. That's my 100 pie. I'm not going to give my work 45 and have 5 for someone else's bullshit. No way. You're not going to take my energy. You're not going to take anything of that away, because energy vampires do exist. People do suck it out of you when they pass all that on. And you got to clear the air. You got to clear the bullshit. So snakes and ladders to me exist. And I believe like it's that, like, you know, I remember just people like years ago, I remember some people used to go, oh man, hey, you got to hang around with positive people. And I used to look at it. I go, positive? What do you mean positive? Hang out with positive people? What the fuck does that mean? I don't know what that means. Whatever, man, positive was, I'm positive. I go and have a couple of beers with people. I laugh. I'm cool. Yeah. Hey, we're all having a good time. I'm positive. What are you talking about? Hang out with positive people. You don't get it. Like, you don't understand it. This is where, you know, until you figure it out yourself and you introduce all these good things, you finally get it. You have all these aha moments. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. So like, you know, positivity sounds like a silly word. Like people go, hey man, just be positive. Like, what's positive? Like, it's hard. Like, but once you get the concept of it and you understand and get your inner self in balance and in check with yourself, well, that is your own positivity. Doesn't mean you got to be flamboyant and hey guys, hey, what's happening? Like, you don't have to be like that. That's not expressing positive. I see people on people's bios and they're like, positive vibes only. Yeah, come on, man. You don't know what positive is. Positive vibes. It's a facade. That's fakeness. It's pretend. You like drama. You call people up. You bitch about everyone else. Like you got 20 friends. You bitch about 18 of them. Positive vibes only. What are you talking about? So until you get it, you know, so snakes and ladders, energy vampires, and you just can't be a part of it. You have to move forward. And, you know, like, you know, one of my friends, she's a female, and she called me up. She's like, you know, open up this new business and stuff like that. And I was pumped, man. Like, I was pumped. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I love this. Like, I love that you're getting out of working for this company and you're going out and you're doing it for yourself and you're like becoming your own boss. Like, yeah, fuck, that inspires me. That feels like I want that. Like, I want people to go out there and to just unplug from the system and go and live life and be the best version that they can be. That inspires the shit out of me. I love that, you know, but like, because of my past and everything else that I was brought up in, like, just the slightest bit of anything that's going to jeopardize the inspiration and sabotage, you know, anything that's going to impact the life moving forward, you just got to cut. You can't have it. Like, that's it. Like, you can't have it from what you've escaped from and what you've come out of. So, you know, there's so much to me of Are You Okay? You know, like, it's just, that's my story. You know, that's my story on Are You Okay? And that's like, I hope that makes sense. Like, you know, life is too short and you can't care what anybody else thinks. You got to do what makes you happy. You know, like some of these podcasts or videos that I've done, like, I've messed a lot up because I get nervous and I don't take notes and I just go off, you know, I just ramble and I get shy in front of the camera and I don't look at the camera because, you know, like, but I don't care. I don't care if I'm going to be judged. You know, like, if I go around judging people, then I'm open and it's an open invitation to be judged myself. And I don't like being judged. So why would I go out and judge other people if I don't like being judged? That's where you got to drop the ego. No ego. Hey man, if that's what you do, do it. be the best at it, you know, do whatever you want to do. Like, I get it. But there is a line that's drawn, some people that are imposters and some people that are just liars, because you call them out on their bullshit, you know, and look, I feel like I've got the right to speak because, as I said, my life was a wild one. And now, like, I'm seeking greatness, and I'm seeking, you know, other things. And I just want everyone to be good, man. And, you know, reach out if you need to reach out, whatever. But, yeah, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't step out of my comfort zone and start taking responsibility for myself and start doing things that sucked. And the one thing that I'd done that changed my life forever was yoga. And one yoga class switched off the monkey chatter in my brain. I had a reset, because what we got to understand is those 5G towers and those Wi-Fi and all the cell towers and all the communication and fucking bullshit that's around us, like, there's like a static of energies in some form of hologram, to say, that's got this sort of reality of just like static that interferes with our brain and interferes with everything, where we're just like where we just can't be still, can't be calm. Yoga switches that off and you get a full reset. You know, and man, I believe it's for everyone. And look, I don't do it all the time. I haven't done it. I've probably done it a couple of times this year, but in an ideal world, I'd love to do yoga twice a week. Nin yoga. Sorry, not nin. It was a studio I used to go to. Yin yoga. You know, meditation. I'd love to do gratitude every day, meditation almost every day. Running, you know, a couple of times a week, working out, like that is it. That's all you need to focus on. And those things will help you level up in life and advance to the next level. Like, that is the answer to mental health, to me. Refire up the brain receptors and get new chemicals flowing and open it up. Open your life up to things you've never explored to before. Step up, because it's all there. And are you okay? Look, I hope everyone's okay. We're at some tough times. You know, moving forward, if anyone's made it this far, I'd consider people to look at their budgets, start making some alterations in diet, start consuming less, steering towards more plant-based, because we don't need any poisonous foods going to our minds, messing up our minds when our government is trying to mess up our minds. So get a good, healthy gut biome, get rid of all the processed chemical foods, start to think right, consume less, start to, you know, not think that you need all this food in the grocery stores, cut down on your consumption of food, because I do believe that we could be seeing some food crisis or shortage through the supply chain moving forward. You know, anybody that couldn't see that happening last year when, you know, the people were fleeing out of the shopping centers with toilet paper, like, you know, that to me showed how weak society was, or how society wasn't ready. And from then, I've always said that if the shopping centers shut their door for a week or 2 weeks, if there was a real crisis, you know, we couldn't cope. So I'd be, you know, suggesting consuming less food and cutting back and removing any overheads, you know, and just look at what do you really need in life, you know, because I've seen a lot of people make a lot of company purchases over the last 12 months. And, you know, we all need a plan B, I'd say, because, I mean, the government shut us down second year into this scamdemic. And I don't think people were ready. And that first year could have flushed them out and left them all vulnerable and exposed. So, yeah, I think reducing some overheads, because I mean, if we were to have another lockdown next year being worse, like, who's going to save us? You know, like, those that don't make it, they could have the solution, and that could be the social credit system, because this is just a flush out. This is just a flush out. Be ready for the climate lockdown. So, anybody that's interested, my new business is the game experience, and there are little boot camps and introductions and things that I'm doing with my business that I can help pass on the knowledge to other people for anybody that wants change. Now, I did used to drink, and I stopped drinking, and you know, I've seen things that I don't think many people have seen. And I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but considering of what I've left to what I've became, I believe that I can pass on the knowledge that I have and help others. So, to move forward into a sustainable future, I believe that my current job may or may not be sustainable to suit what these monkey governments are going to roll out in the years to come. So I'm taking a back step and I'm transitioning into this new job. So where I'm going with this is, if anybody is interested in what the game experience could offer to their life in a sense of change, I do have programs, and I've got 2-month boot camp programs, and then I've got smaller ones which are about a month, which involve, I mean, obviously, you know, YouTube's a global thing, so obviously I can't meet up with people, but, you know, I'm just going to say this as if those live locally, but, you know, the boot camp one will be, you know, training and stepping out the comfort zone. But I can even pass on those tools without it, you know, Zoom calls and meditations, and all things. So, you know, there'll be like three things a week. I mean, personal trainers, I mean, you might train with a personal trainer for what, you know, an hour. Some of them charge $50. I mean, my programs for, you know, three times a week are cheaper than that. You know, your typical personal trainer would just say, lift that 15 reps and drop that and do this, and talk about themselves, and, you know, just put you through exercises that bodybuilders do, or put you through exercises that they believe work, or, you know, go and eat some broccoli and go and eat some chicken. Like, you know, the things that I'm going to offer and put out there on the table is everything that I've put into practice from my ultra marathons, and that which how the brain functions with specific types of food, and how you remove the chatter, and how you cleanse out the gut biome, how you reprogram the mind, how you do a complete reset, and start to get your body, start to understand your body. One thing that I say to people, like, you know, I reach out to people and I'm like, hey, we should train, we should do this. And they always give me all these excuses. Oh, I can't do that, man, because of my knee. Okay, well then let's go and hit a sauna and train upper body. Oh yeah, no, I can't. I've got this, you know, it's always excuses. People talk about they want this life and they want to do it, but they won't, you know, make the step. But the next minute they message you and they go, oh man, I've got to, you know, let me go and I've got to get something fixed and then I'll do it. And you're just like, man, if you're going and seeing a doctor to find out what's wrong with you, like there's the problem. Like, at what point can we not agree with ourselves to say, shit, I'm going to see a doctor to find out what's wrong with me? No, we should know what's wrong with ourselves. This is your goddamn body. This is my goddamn body. I've been in this body for 39 years. What is that doctor going to tell me? I guarantee you, if you're going to see a doctor to find out what's wrong with you, You're seeing that doctor because of everything that you're doing today. And there's nothing more about it. So if you don't want to see that doctor, stop doing what you're doing today and do something different tomorrow. And I guarantee you that you won't be going to that doctor. Because if you listen to the right people around the world, they'll say that, hey, the doctor gave me this drug, the doctor gave me that, they told me to do this, they told me to do that, they told me to do this, da, 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 da. I was on this medication, that medication, yada, 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 for 15 years. Worst mental illness. But then I changed my diet. I became a carnivore. Everything went. My arthritis, the inflammation, the pain, the mental health. I got off the tablets, all because of the food. So we should understand our body, learn our body. So the game experience got all of that. Anybody that's interested in what it could offer, links are in the description. Reach out to me. Got shirts available if you want to support the channel or the community. And no, I'm not going to give my phone number out if people want to call me up to see if I'm okay because they've heard my sad story. I am okay. I'm great. So if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you to people that have just come along and joined and subscribed and stuff. And, you know, don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm just living life and trying to navigate through it. You know, if I share things or post things, that's because I'm reaching out to people to interact. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not expressing anything. I'm not saying, you know, I had to remove a couple of my crypto videos because I didn't want to put the wrong information out there that is what I did. But, you know, I don't have to live my life people trying to guess if that is what I'm trying to say, like that's what I did. This is the idea of the community and me reaching out. If I'm going to pump out videos and make content on these topics, well, these are the types of videos that I've got to just put. I can't keep making the same thing. I've got to change it up. So if I say I'm going to do a crypto video, well, what do I know about crypto? Well, I'll share the same thing, but I'll just change it up a little bit to try and get people interested, try and form the community, try and get a bigger audience, try and make the channel grow. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not, you know, it's not for anyone else's interpretation to think that that is what I'm trying to say that I did. No, no, no. You know, this is a video of me talking about me. Everything else, I'm doing it for you guys. So, see you again.